Story 1. Am I the a-hole for taking my niece to court over a coat? I, 28 female, have a niece, 16 female. She is my only sister's only child. 2 years ago, I married a very wealthy man, 34 male, and because of the pandemic, last Christmas was my first with my in-laws. My mother-in-law gifted me a coat that is worth more than $20,000. I saw her wearing it, asked her where she bought it, and she said that it will be my Christmas gift from her. I didn't know how much it was. I knew it was expensive, but I thought maybe $3,000 at the most. I was visiting my sister last January when my niece saw it. She Googled the brand and showed me how much it really was. I won't lie, I didn't wear it after that because I was afraid of ruining it. Last week, I wore it while visiting my sister. While I was putting it back on to leave, I felt something go splat on my back. Then my niece started cackling, and the smell of paint hit me. I was so ticked off while she was not apologetic at all. Her mom screamed at her and said she was grounded. Then she said she will pay for the dry cleaning. While I was in my car, still in shock by the way, I got an alert that my niece posted a reel. It was of her doing a prank on me, and she said, "I'm going to hit my aunt's $20,000 coat with a paint-filled balloon to see how she reacts." I saved it on my phone, sent it to her mom, and told her that a week's grounding is not enough. She did not reply, but I saw that my niece took it down. It got less than 5 views by then. The next day I found out my coat could not be saved. So I called my sister and told her that her daughter has to pay it back. Well, we got into an argument and she said that they will not be paying for it, and if I wanted a new one, I should get my husband to buy it for me. I think that they should pay for it. They can afford to. In my opinion, they should sell my niece's car to pay me back money. We did not reach an agreement, so I told her that I will be suing, and reminded her that I have video evidence that her daughter A did it on purpose for online clout, and B knew exactly how expensive it was. People in my life are not objective at all. I have some calling me an a-hole, some saying they're the a-holes for not buying me a new one, and some so obsessed with the price of the coat that they are calling me an a-hole for simply owning it and wanting a new one. So am I the a-hole? Well, not really. I mean, this kid knew the value of this coat and decided to ruin it. And they're of this mentality that, oh, the husband's rich, he can buy a new one or something like that. There's got to be some sort of consequences beyond a week's grounding. I mean, this woman is sitting there suggesting, well, they could probably just sell the car to pay for it. There's got to be some sort of middle ground there. Taking them to court to enforce the consequences is kind of a last resort, but not quite the a-hole. There's the ones that aren't taking it very seriously. They need to own up to it. Story 2. Karen tells me to stop the ride, so I did. / the day I made Karen cry. I work at an amusement park, and we have this ride called Moby Dick. This ride is 100% controlled by the operator. A couple of weeks ago, this woman and her friend came up to my ride, making fun of one of the kids that were on the ride. She was saying so many hateful things about how they look. Without even looking at her, I told her to stop, and this is how it went. Me: "You're literally talking about a 7-year-old like that. You need to stop or you'll not be allowed on the rides." Karen: "But it's true. Look at them." Me: Don't disrespect other guests, please. It's not okay." Karen's friend: "Stop, Karen, before you get us in trouble again." Karen: "Whatever." When the ride was finished, I started letting the next group of people in. I say, do not pull down on the bars, pick any seat you'd like. To everyone as they walk in, since pulling on the bars can break the seats over time. I let a group of young boys in before Karen's group, and they sat at the end seats. Karen marches over to the kids, yelling at them to get out of her seat and that she paid to sit at the end. Me: "Miss, please stop yelling at the kids or you'll be removed from the ride with no refund in tickets." Karen: "Don't tell me." Karen's friend: "Stop it, Karen, just sit in the middle." She complained the whole time walking to the middle seats and then pulled down the bar. I was thinking it was time to get a manager over, but I didn't want to bother them with her. Once I got everyone seated, I closed all the seat bars. When I was checking the seats, Karen's one was on the loose side, so I pushed it in a little to make it tighter. Karen: "You're trying to unalive me first. You left my seat open. Now you're making it so I can't breathe." I ignore her and keep checking seats. When I finally start the ride, I slowly rock it, and Karen is screaming to take her off, so I make the ride go faster, doing full circles now. Halfway during the ride, Karen screams, "Stop the ride, you fracking shrew!" She wants me to stop it? Fine. Fine with me. I park the ride at the top of the ride, like I do when closing, but keep the ride on. The 6 others on the ride weren't scared the ride stopped. Karen started screaming bloody unaliving, crying and begging to be let down. The parents watching know what she said before their kids and know what's going on and start laughing. After around 30 seconds, she is screaming and letting me down, screaming, "Let me down!" still. So I do. On the fastest setting, I start the ride spinning full speed. I made the ride a little longer since all the kids were having fun. Before I opened the seats, I screamed a warning. Me: "Wait for the bars to fully open and stay above your head before getting up. Stay seated." Karen pushes it and gets up, having the bar fall back down and hit her in the head. Her friend laughs at her and gets up, walking her off the ride. Just listen. This is not entitlement. This is making sure you stay in this life. I mean, really. You don't disrespect. There are certain people you really shouldn't disrespect. The people who serve your food, the person who handles your money, and the person who is operating the gigantic carnival ride that you are on, where you could really not come back out of it with breath. Story 3. Just found out husband fabricated entire life. Can I get an annulment? And how do I get him out? I met my husband 4 years ago, just before moving from Pennsylvania to Georgia. Shortly after my move, he followed me and we fell in love. We lived together from 2015 onward, and in mid-November 2018, we married. Today, I discovered that virtually everything he has ever told me or demonstrated about his life was a complete fabrication. From specific medical issues to jobs, past and present, to education, to family relationships, to the claim that his first language was not English, to phone conversations that never happened to people he knows, to, if you can think of it, he's lied about it. We live together, but my name is on the lease and I hold the title on both of our cars. He has some belongings in our house, but most of it has been purchased with money that I have earned over our 4 years together, plus money from my personal savings account. I am totally open to letting him walk with all of his stuff and even signing the older car to him. After a quick internet search, it looks like I might have grounds for an annulment of my marriage, on the basis of being seriously misled. Do I? What will I need to be able to prove in order to make it work? And is there anything else I need to keep in mind to aim for an annulment instead of divorce? He's mentally ill, though quite differently than what I was led to believe, and receives SSDI each month. But that is nowhere near enough for him to live on. What is the legal way to get him out of my house and life with minimal risk, damage, and cost to me? Also, Do I look for a divorce lawyer in this situation? Sorry if that's a dumb question. Also, how does custody of pets work? We have 2 kittens we got in July, and I can't imagine separating them. I also can't imagine him being able to take care of them once we're separated, but I don't know if that matters. Again, that's up to the lawyers to give you the advice. I can't do that, but I think part of the big thing is just get your receipts for everything. Make sure everything that's in your name is documented. The house, all the stuff that's yours, the cars, everything. And definitely keep that in a safe place and definitely consult with a lawyer. Maybe not someone like a divorce lawyer, someone who specializes in this stuff. Find someone, but definitely get everything documented and get all this documentation about about how he is not who he says he was. Get enough of that proof. I think those are the 2 big steps.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 4. Steal my lunch? I hope you like haram food. I recently started to work in an office. Not very happy about it, as I prefer working from home, but it's only temporary, so I'm hanging there. Since I'm trying to save money, I take my own lunch instead of eating at one of the many restaurants near the office. Soon after I started, I noticed my food going missing from the break room. After digging a bit, I discovered who the culprit was. One of my coworkers, let's call him M, decided it was okay to take my lunch without asking for almost a week. I had to put a stop to this, but since I had no hard evidence like a video of him eating my stuff, I decided to take justice in my own hands. You see, M is a Muslim, and apparently very serious about it, to the point he has to let everyone know about this, at least once a day. Nothing wrong with being serious about your religion, mind you, but when everyone knows you as the Muslim guy, because that's the only thing you talk about, you may want to diversify your interests. To me, however, he's known as the lunch looter. Since it's my lunch after all, and I have absolutely no dietary prohibitions, I decided to prepare myself a delicious pork sandwich. Pepperoni, ham, smoked sausage, chorizo, bacon, pork leg, cochinita, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and even some chicharron. I know I'm pronouncing that one right, for good measure. Oh, and don't forget extra jalapenos. Normally I don't like them, but I want this one to pack a punch. I call it the squealing surprise. I'm sorry, I call it the squealing supreme. Squealing surprise would be a lot better, don't you think? Surely any person who adheres to religious rules would be a fool to even go near my succulent sandwich, right? Well, it seems like M is the type of person to grab food from the fridge without checking it first, which led to hilarious results. At some point before my lunch hour, the office was set off by bloody screams coming from the break room. When someone ran off to check, they found poor M crying about eating pork and saying that someone put non-halal meat in the fridge. This was my cue to get HR involved. This level of drama wouldn't go unnoticed anyway, and catching M eating my sandwich was all I needed to get them on my side. Sadly, the payoff wasn't great. He was let off with a warning, and his excuse for taking my lunch is that I always brought halal food. Basically just chicken and vegetables. So he took it. It's not that he thought it was for him. He just said he targeted my stuff because I was the only one bringing clean food. He was still quite ticked, and in the last few days he's been giving me the unaliving glare. Moral of the story? Don't take people's food. Who knows? Maybe they enjoy the food your religion considers sinful. That was just awful. Supposed to be adhering to a religion, but stealing is okay because the food is halal? Is this person not able to afford food? I mean, it's awful like that, but I guess for the rest of the time you're working in the office, I guess you're eating haram. Story 5. Am I the a-hole for showing up to my husband's doctor appointment? My husband has been dealing with some health issues the past few weeks and has been frequently visiting the doctor. I asked if I could go with him, but he refused, saying it wouldn't be necessary, and when I asked why he wouldn't want me with him, he said he felt more comfortable having privacy with his doctor. I jokingly asked if his doctor was a woman, and he glanced at me. I anticipated his next doctor appointment and decided to go meet him there. He went, and 10 minutes later, I entered the office. I identified myself as his wife, and he was shocked when he saw me. I greeted his doctor, a man, and we talked, but my husband refused to even look my way and refused to speak as well. We left the office together, and he went off on me in the car, saying I shouldn't have followed him, and came into the doctor's office after he asked me for some privacy. I said it was all right, I'm his wife. I already know what his issues are and just wanted to show support. He said I overstepped his one boundary and refused to respect his wish and made him more stressed than he already is in these hard times he's going through. I thought he overreacted, but am I the a-hole? Yes. It doesn't mean being married doesn't necessarily mean you're joined at the hip for the rest of your life. There's got to be some sort of boundaries. There's got to be some points where you can appreciate the time off that you have from each other. Maybe the health issues will affect you, and it seems like he's told you that, but no, he didn't want you in the doctor's office. He didn't feel comfortable with you there. You shouldn't have been there. Absolutely not. Story 6. Entitled aunt unknowingly ended her own financial support. My older sister, let's call her Rhea, and our mom have always had a very difficult relationship ever since I could remember. Rhea has always been headstrong and not afraid to ask questions. My mom was a very traditional, devout Christian who put family above everything first. Bit of a background. My mom was the second eldest of 9 children and moved from the Philippines to the U.S. She grew up dirt poor in a small province and experienced firsthand the hardship that comes with taking care of a big family. She was the first of her family to graduate college and has always valued education as a means to get out of poverty. She has paid for 4 of her siblings to go to college. Only 2 actually completed and went on to find jobs, and has also paid for several of her siblings' children to go to good schools in the Philippines. Rhea had more exposure to the extended family than I did. She was born in the Philippines, I was born in the U.S., 7 years apart. As she got older, she was very outspoken about how she did not agree with my mom financially supporting some of her family because Rhea felt as though they were abusing my mom's generosity, especially since Mom was frugal with our expenditures here in the U.S. When Rhea was in her last year of high school, she had a bad falling out with my mom and moved out. They did not speak for 5 years, although my dad and I kept in touch with Rhea. In that time, Rhea worked full-time and paid her way through college without any help from my parents at all. Fast forward a few years, at my high school graduation, I invited Rhea. She attended and ended up reconciling with my mom. Things were still rocky, but they had a much better relationship. 2 years ago, my mom passed away. Unbeknownst to me at the time, Rhea had quietly taken over the continued financial support for my mom's youngest sister, Jana. Cost of living and maintaining the college fund for Jana's daughter. She also took care of the funeral arrangements and handling the estate. Dad was a mess at the time. Last year, Rhea and I decided to spend the holidays in the Philippines. One of our visits was to Jana's place. Little did I know that poop was about to hit the fan when we sat down for dinner. After small talk, the topic of my mom came up, and this was how that conversation went. Details may be lost in translation, so just writing the gist. Jana: such a shame your mom passed away. We will miss her. Rhea: yes. Jana: Rhea, why did you stop talking to her? Why did you leave her? You should be ashamed. That's not how you treat family. Now your mom would have raised you better. You always were too headstrong, you know. That's not ladylike. You shouldn't be so aggressive. You need to be softer. How are you going to get a man otherwise? She goes on to say more stuff along these lines. Jana turns to me. Don't be like your sister, okay? Be a good daughter. Do you have a boyfriend yet? You don't want to get too old like Rhea and not have your own family. That's not following God's plan. Ooh. Before I could speak, Rhea asked her own questions. Rhea: why did you drop out and decide to get pregnant when Mom was paying for your college? Did you really think that businessmen would leave his wife to take care of you? If you wanted to be a trophy wife, you should have just said so instead of wasting my mom's hard-earned money. At this point, I just decided to watch because Jana was starting to tick me off, and Rhea has been known to do epic takedowns. Jana enraged: how dare you come into my house, eat my food, and disrespect me? Rhea, calmly: technically, it's my mom's house. You have food because my mom has been supporting you for the better part of 15 years, and you disrespected her by wasting all the opportunities she worked hard to give you. Jana: I don't need your attitude or your hogwash. I don't need anything from you. You disrespectful shrew. Get the hell out of my house. More rant. Rhea gets up and smiles. You're sure you don't need anything from me? You don't want anything from me? I want to confirm that I heard you correctly. Jana: I don't need anything from you. I can take care of myself and my family, and how dare you imply otherwise? Get the hell out of my house, and your father will hear about this. Rhea looks at me. You heard her. Let's go. Now, I was surprised by how calmly Rhea was taking the diatribe because I've seen her and my mom get into massive shouting matches. More confused than anything, I followed her to the car. Rhea: you heard her, right? She doesn't need anything from me. Me: it begins to dawn on me what my sister is about to do. Yeah. Rhea: okay. We get back to the hotel and my sister promptly stops the auto transfer of funds for Jana's account. We then spend the rest of the week lounging by the beach and hanging out with other cousins. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my cousins and heard that Jana is just now realizing what actually happens when you run out of money. I called up Rhea shortly after to give her an update. Rhea: what? She ran out of money that quick? There was enough in there to last her the year. Me: oh, did you tell her that? Rhea: basic math. Me: will she lose the house? Rhea: nah, it's paid for. As long as she doesn't do something stupid, she should have a roof over her head. Me: did you also close her kid's college fund? Rhea: nope, not gonna punish the kid for her mom's stupidity. But that's all she gets, so if she messes up, she messes it up. So yeah, it will definitely be interesting how this plays out in the next few months. I have a feeling my sister probably won't give a damn one way or the other, though. Yeah, be careful who you talk to, and be careful who you're calling out. You just don't know. I mean, I could just imagine. I don't even imagine that that Jana would grovel for forgiveness, even if it meant, getting supported and with the money back. It's going to be really interesting to see how she survives based on that. Story 7. I don't want to meet my biological father or his parents, and my friends are judging me for it. My biological father is in jail for unaliving. His parents were both convicted for being accessories after the fact and lying to the FBI. This happened when I was a baby, so I don't remember my biological father or his parents at all. Since I turned 18 recently, I've been getting registered letters from a lawyer acting on behalf of the three of them, requesting that I begin regularly visiting him in jail and my grandparents at their place not far from the jail. When the lawyer ignored me saying no, I picked up some extra shifts at work so I could pay for a lawyer to send a letter back saying, "Leave me alone." But my friends all seem to think that I'm wrong and should start visiting my biological father and his parents and give them a chance. None of them know what it's like, and I don't want them in my life, but I keep getting so much pressure and judgment, and it sucks. All of them have two really nice, regular, loving parents, so they don't understand what it's like to have a biological father like mine. I'm so sick of the judgments for not wanting to see them ever. Is the stuff with the lawyer resolved? Then it shouldn't matter what the other people think. You should just stop mentioning it and just not bring it up again. And it sucks that you have a father like that, but visiting them and grandparents, that's your business. You just stop speaking about it. I mean, and if that's all that friends do when they talk to you when you bring it up, time to make some new friends, unfortunately. Hopefully you're in the situation where you can do that.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.